Welcome, everyone. It is so good to see such a good turnout for our local Meet the Candidates session. I'd like to thank Truist Bank, who is the sponsor for this session. And I'd like to go ahead and give them a round of applause. Thank you so much, Truist. Appreciate that. I'd also like to give everyone a reminder that the last day to register to vote is April 23rd. Early voting begins May 1st through May 11th, and election day for the primary is May 14th. Now at this time, I would like to introduce our moderator, Mr. Jay Quesenberry, Raleigh County Administrator.
Thank you, Heather. It's great to be here. This is a little different format for this year as compared to previous years, but it really is great to be with you today on this great opportunity to meet our candidates here at, it's called Future Forward, and we are glad to be with you today. In today's format, we will call the two opposing candidates to their respective podiums, and we'll ask all candidates except judge candidates and those running unopposed the same one or two alternating questions depending on the office and the candidates, and they will be given a 1 minute opportunity to answer. All candidates will also be allowed a 1 minute closing statement. Judge candidates will be given a 1 minute statement as well. So we wanted to kind of give you the ground rules, and we also wanted to introduce to you the folks that are making this happen, and we've had these people doing this for a number of years. First off, our Sergeant at Arms, we have Roy Shrewsbury, who is volunteering here for the Beckley-Raleigh County Chamber of Commerce. Roy, if you would stand up. All right, Roy's right here. He's one of the Sergeants of Arms, and the other one is Nancy Kissinger. Nancy, if you would stand up as well. How many years have you all been doing this? A lot of years. Okay, a lot of years. They're very good at this. Those are the Sergeant of Arms. And we have our timekeeper here. There it is, the cowbell. That's Pete Tirico. Let's give Pete a round of applause. And we also want to introduce to you our distinguished media panel. And we'll go here from, I guess, right to left is how I have it here. And first off, we have Damon Kane, who is the editor of the Beckley Register-Herald. Damon? Right next to Damon is Keith Thompson with WJLS, and Keith is coming right here. Keith? Next to Keith from the Loot Press, we have Cameron Gano. Welcome, Cameron. Next from WOAY ABC4, Micah Leith. Michael, welcome. Moving right along, WVNS 59 News, Rivers Upchurch, ladies and gentlemen. From WVVA, Ben Schwartz. Welcome, Ben. Welcome. And from the sponsor here, the media sponsor, Southern Communications and WWNR, it's Lola Reiser. Welcome. That's quite a distinguished media panel, and we're glad to have all of you with us. Thank you for being here with us. We want to begin with the circuit judge race, and judge candidates will not be questioned. Candidates with opposition will have 1 minute to give a statement. Unopposed candidates will be recognized only. The timekeeper will ring the bell, alternating the candidate, and they'll have 10 seconds remaining until the time expires. And I know it could be a little bit confusing for you. There's about 4 divisions, and in Division 1, Darrell W. Poling is the Judicial Circuit 14 Division 1 judge that is running, and he is running unopposed. So we want to recognize him. I'm not sure that he's here, but we want to make sure that we recognize him. And that is Division 1, Circuit 14. In Division 2, we have Marie Bechtel from Judicial Circuit 14, and also Matthew Bradford from Judicial Circuit 14, and they're here. And they're already up here, right? Okay, very good. And we also, I guess what we'll do, we'll begin with you, Marie, for your 1 minute statement, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Marie Bechtel, and I am running for Circuit Court Judge in Raleigh County. The reason I am the best candidate for this position is because of the breadth of experience that I would bring to the court. I have served as a law clerk. I served as a corporate attorney in Wheeling for 6 years before returning to my hometown here in Beckley. My husband and I chose to come back here to raise our children. Those 4 children that we have raised, one is in college, 2 are at Woodrow, 1 is still in middle school. Since we moved back 14 years ago, I have served as a supervisor of a local office of a statewide nonprofit law firm. For the past 10 years, in addition to that work, I have also owned my own firm, so I've run 2 offices for the past 10 years. The work that I do at the nonprofit law firm is really focused on lifting up vulnerable individuals, and for the past several years it has focused on assisting people who are in recovery from substance use disorder to re-enter the workforce. Thank you. My work at my private office has focused on working with children. So because of this breadth of experience, I do believe I'm the best candidate for this position. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bechtel. Next up, we have Matthew A. Bradford, who is Judicial Circuit 14, Division 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Matthew A. Bradford, and I'm running for Circuit Court Judge in Division 2, and I believe that I am the best candidate for this position. It's the right time, and I'm the right choice to be your next Circuit Court Judge. Now, I'm the right choice to be your Circuit Court Judge because of my vast experience that I have and my legal temperament. First, let's talk about experience, shall we? I have been practicing in this area for almost 14 years now. I worked for Kyle Lusk, who was a well-known attorney in this area, in which he was my mentor, and he not only taught me about the practice of the law, but he also taught me to be mentally strong. Okay, he taught me about life and everything that comes with it. Okay, so I have been practicing in criminal law. I've been practicing abuse and neglect law. I've practiced domestic law. I've practiced family law, and I've practiced personal injury cases. I've practiced every type of law that would come before a circuit court judge. More importantly, I have the experience necessary to do abuse and neglect work. Now, with these abuse and neglect cases, I have essentially served as a guardian ad litem. I've served as an attorney for the parents, and I'm a certified foster parent, so I can see all the different perspectives. I have the necessary temperament. I will be fair and impartial, and I believe it's the right time, the right choice for me to be your next circuit court judge, and I hope that you consider me in this position. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bradford. Up next, we have Daniel J. Burns, who's running for Division 2, Judicial Circuit 14.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and before I get started with my remarks, I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce and all of the sponsors today for putting on this event. As Jay said, my name is Daniel Burns. I'm running for Circuit Court Judge in Division 2, and I believe that I am the judge for you all in Division 2. For the past 12 years, I've practiced law here in Raleigh County. My practice has been dedicated to everything from civil cases to criminal cases, child abuse and neglect cases. I have the experience in the courtroom. I have experience outside in the courtroom in providing training and education to our teachers, to our law enforcement officers, to members of our community to protect themselves, to protect children, and to protect members of our community. I think I am the judge for you in Division 2 because I have the experience, the temperament, the education, and the support of this community. I think now is the time for me to take the step out of the courtroom from behind the counsel table onto the bench and serve the members of this community the way that I have for the past 12 years, providing a fair, impartial, and balanced judiciary. I'm asking for your vote on May 14th in the primary. And remember, Daniel Burns, the judge for you in Division 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Up next, also Division 2, Judicial Circuit 14, Michael E. Frobel. Mr. Frobel?
Good afternoon. With age comes wisdom, hopefully, and I've been practicing for 42 years. 2 of my candidates were not born when I started practicing. The other 2 were 4 years old. I believe I've got some experience, and I believe I would bring that to the judgeship. In the beginning, God. And that's what I am. I'm about a devout Christian, and I'm a conservative. I'm a Republican running for judge, and I would love to bring my experience to the judgeship. I have been a prosecutor, a public defender. I've represented the Citizen Conservation Corps. I've represented the Bluefield Regional Hospital. I was general counsel for Beckley Housing Authority, the animal shelter. So I believe I can bring all this to be a good and fair judge. I have 8 granddaughters who I love, a special needs daughter. I believe that the judgeship should encompass the community. We have a drug court, a family court, abuse and neglect. I believe I could bring all my experience and do the best I possibly could for you all as your judge. I'd appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Frobel. Next up, Division II, Judicial Circuit 14, Russell Rusty Wooten.
Well, thank you for the Chamber of Commerce for having this. As I said, my name's Russell Wooten. I'm a candidate for Raleigh County Circuit Court Judge. I've been practicing law for 20 years right here in Raleigh County. I went to law school because I wanted to be a public servant. As I started practicing law, I realized that being a judge would be the best way for me to serve my community. I'm a lifelong resident. In fact, I live in the house I grew up in. I've experienced every type of case that will come before a circuit court judge. I've done family law, I've done abuse and neglects, I focus on criminal law and personal injuries. I've done a lot of real estate, which is the birthplace of all litigation in West Virginia. And I've been a very big part of this community for as long as I can remember. You know, I came back, I've served 2 terms on the Raleigh County Community Action Association. I was appointed by Governor Justice to serve on the West Virginia State Medical Board. And I volunteer a lot of time to children's sports and everything because I know the importance of our future is our kids. I'm asking for your vote on May 14th, and I appreciate you coming out here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wooten. That's for Division II, Judicial Circuit 14. Now moving on to Division III, Judicial Circuit 14. That's Todd Kirby, who is running unopposed, and Todd's here. Todd Kirby. And in Division 4, Andy Dimlick, who is Judicial Circuit 14, Division 4. He is also unopposed, and I believe he's here too. Judge Dimlick, thank you. That concludes our circuit judge portion of our program today. We will move on now to family court. And we have family court judge candidates who will not be questioned, and there's no candidates with opposition. So we'll be recognizing them only. In Division I, Family Court, we have H. Suzanne McGraw. She's in Family Court Circuit 13, Division I, and I believe she's here. Let's give her a little round of applause. In Division II, it's Lee Leffler, Family Court Circuit 13, Division II, and I'm not sure she's here with us today. I don't think so, okay? And in Division III, we have Eric Shuck, Family Court Circuit 13, Division III, and I don't believe Judge Shuck is with us today as well. So let's give the family court judges a round of applause. Next, we want to move to the county commission race, and there's only one county commissioner running, and she's running unopposed. Those terms come up once every 6 years. It's a 6-year term, and that would be Linda K. Epling, the incumbent, and let's give her a round of applause. She's not with us today. And then also we're moving on now to prosecuting attorney, and also the prosecuting attorney race is unopposed, and the prosecuting attorney is Benjamin Hatfield, the incumbent, and I don't believe Mr. Hatfield is with us today, but let's give him a round of applause as well. Next up, we want to move to the sheriff's candidates, and the sheriff's candidates will be given the same 2 alternating questions, and the candidates will be given 1 minute to answer. All candidates will also be allowed a 1-minute closing statement. The timekeeper will ring the bell alerting the candidate they have 10 seconds remaining until time expires. And we're going to begin with Sheriff Jim Candidate. Welcome, and we want to remind all the candidates to please work the mic very closely so that everybody can hear. And we want to begin with a question for Jim Candidate, the incumbent, from Damon Kame of the Register-Herald.
Okay. Thank you. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 93 people in Raleigh County died from a drug overdose death in the year ending June 2023. In your opinion, is the county succeeding or failing at stemming the tide of drug-related activity?
Can you repeat the last part of that? You said
Yes, I'm sorry. I tend to mumble. Is the county succeeding or failing at stemming the tide of drug-related criminal activity?
I got you. So, as I said, I think this is one of the questions you would ask in a candidate survey. I think when you measure success or failure, you have to look at it in a vacuum. So when I first started working the drug unit, the pill epidemic was the thing. And we've now moved to something else. So did we succeed or did we fail at stemming drug activity? I think to your point, are we failing? No, I don't think we're failing, but I think there's a whole lot more that needs to be done. I think we need to continually evaluate where we are and devote the resources necessary with an overall understanding of the drug problem. The drug problem is not something that's just your house next door. It's across the state, across the nation, and across the world. So I think we need to look at it broadly in the aspect of, okay, so what's causing this drug epidemic and how can we fight it? And sometimes the tools that we use to fight it aren't the traditional tools. Every time something new comes up, law enforcement learns. So we're now utilizing all tools at our disposal, not just kicking indoors, but let's say legislation that maybe has more penalties for bringing drugs across state lines.
Our next question's from Keith Thompson of WJLS. Question number 2.
Sheriff, first of all, thank you for your job. Thank you for your what you're doing for the community, and welcome in. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
This job there's a lot of different parts to this sheriff's job. How do you keep all those balls jumbling around at the same time and are able to do the job as it needs to be done?
Well, and I think that's a great question. Not many people understand what the sheriff does. The sheriff's primary job is not necessarily just law enforcement. As a matter of fact, that's a small part or a smaller part of what the sheriff does. The sheriff's also the treasurer of the county, the financial conservator for certain protected persons. I'm the executor of certain estates and other administrative duties. So to keep that balanced around, you really have to look at it in 2 divisions, law enforcement and the administrative side. The administrative side, I have a lot of experience other than just being sheriff and having experience doing that. I have a bachelor's degree in management. I have a lot of experience in financial services. So I can talk to banks in the morning about present value of future dollars. And in the afternoon, I have a master's degree in criminal justice, 24 plus years with the sheriff's department. I can have a conversation on the intricacies of a drug investigation with a judge or with a constituent. So I wear a lot of hats. It takes a lot of experience, but the way I keep it straight is, in my mind, segmenting both parts.
Now, 1 minute closing statement, Sheriff.
So what would I want to know if I were you guys trying to decide on who to vote for sheriff? Experience and qualifications. All 3 of us are Christian, conservative, Republican, pro-gun, and pro-law enforcement. But qualifications and experience are really where the difference begin to show. If you want someone who actually knows how to be a deputy sheriff, now we're left with 2. Then if drugs are a big part of your decision, and they probably are, then I'm the only candidate who actually has experience in a drug task force. Investigations are important, and while 2 of us have served in respective detective bureaus, I'm the only candidate that's been charged with supervising one as chief detective. And speaking of supervision, the highest supervisory level in the sheriff's department, besides sheriff, is chief deputy, and I'm the only candidate to be selected as chief deputy of Raleigh County. Further, I'm the only candidate with experience in actually being sheriff. Scott Van Meter years ago entrusted me to lead his law enforcement operations, and the county commission continued that trust when they appointed me to fill his unexpired term. I'm asking for your continued trust and support in May. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Sheriff Jim Canaday. Next up, we have candidate Frank Priddy, and we want to go back to the same question.
Okay.
Same question from you, Damon, on the same question you asked Jim.
Okay. So according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 93 people in Raleigh County died from a drug overdose in the year ending in June 2023. In your opinion, is the county succeeding or failing at stemming the tide of drug-related criminal activity?
In my opinion, I think we're failing. I think we need to start out educating our children in schools, teach them about the effects of bad decisions. I think that needs to continue on throughout their middle school and high school years. I think we owe it to our kids to put that education out there to them. If anybody walks around Beckley or Raleigh County, they can see the drug problem. We have, in my opinion, we've terribly failed. There needs to be more treatment. There needs to be more education in regards to that, and it's mental health, and I think it's a combination of everything. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Keith, if you'll do your question again.
Okay, thank you very much, Jay. Frank, you have a background in law enforcement, basically with the city. If you're elected sheriff in Raleigh County, how do you keep it all going? You know, there's 2 or 3 different parts of this thing that has to be played out every day.
It is. I think a big part of that is putting the correct leadership in charge of different departments. There's some good chiefs right now, but I think that's the key, is to find the right person to lead the department that has the same vision as you, that has the same work ethic and the same drive to reach the same goals. I know the tax department, they are squared away. They have good leadership there in the inner part of the department, and I think that's a big part of being successful.
Okay. Thank you. 1-minute closing statement, Mr. Priddy.
Okay. Folks, if you think about this, are we better off than we was 8 years ago now? Okay? I think if anybody drives through Beckley or Raleigh County, I think you would probably say, if you've lived here, if you're a lifetime resident, that it's probably worse. Okay? In my opinion, we need to be more aggressive in the drugs. We need to be more aggressive in stopping crime. We need to put a few different things first as a priority. Me being a fresh administrator, I think I can do you a good job as far as being more proactive on what we've done before in the past. And I really appreciate your vote, and I really would ask that you would consider me for your vote on May 14th. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you. Frank Priddy. And next up, we have Randy White, who also is running for sheriff in Raleigh County. And we want to go back to Damon Kame, if you'd ask the same question again.
Okay. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 93 people in Raleigh County died from a drug overdose in the year ending in June 2023. In your opinion, is the county succeeding or failing at stemming the tide of drug-related criminal activity?
In my view, Raleigh County is not succeeding in addressing the drug-related criminal activity. I know well as anybody else, I've had a sister that's actually, she overdosed and passed away about 8 years ago. There's insufficient drug enforcement in the county, and that's coupled with minimal resources allocating for drug treatment. Despite the county commission receiving funds from the opioid epidemic, the municipalities and the county received monies from that, and there's still a significant gap in addressing addiction. A promising solution could be to establish drug treatment facilities here in our area instead of having to go to Huntington or Charleston to get treatment, you can have something here in Raleigh County. Usually, while you can utilize some of these funds. Moreover, I'd like to bring back something like the DARE program in the schools to educate your youth in middle school and high school. Maybe hire a retired trooper, deputy, city police officer, and give them the opportunity to educate the kids on the effects of drugs. I think that Raleigh County could take a significant stride in combating drug-related criminal activity and promoting community well-being if we take these steps.
Okay, your question, Keith Thompson, WJLS.
Randy, just like everybody else, you've had your share of time on the streets. And if you get elected sheriff, how do you separate? There's the two different departments there. How do you separate everything and keep it all going?
There's definitely a separation. You can't do all the things that you have to do to be in charge of the county. You're going to have to take bright, motivated individuals and put them ahead of these departments. And there's some there at the Raleigh County Sheriff's Office that's doing a great job. I think that you can't micromanage the department from the sheriff's position. You have to trickle down that to these people that can actually you can put in place to guide the department in the different directions they need to go. As far as the drug unit, the school resource and working in the schools, sometimes we put people in positions not because it's the right fit, but you need somebody in that position. So I don't think that's necessary. I think you need to find the right fit for these positions.
A 1-minute closing statement, Mr. White.
My primary motivating factors for seeking for the sheriff of Raleigh County, I have a desire to make our community safer, enhance its overall quality of life. I have a commitment to serving all the citizens of Raleigh County. I've been all over this county. I've worked the road my entire career. I've listened to the people of Raleigh County throughout all the communities. I think I know what needs to be done and what needs to be addressed. Sometimes we don't listen to the public and we think that we know better than others. Also, too, I think that by assuming the role of sheriff, you got to implement proactive measures and a sense of security and unity among the diverse population we have here in Raleigh County. Extra patrols and we need to hire more deputies. I know sometimes that's a burden, but as far as your pay scale, we need to get our pay scale up. That's something that you'd have to work with the county commission, but that's just some of the things I think that would help.
Thank you, Mr. White. Let's give all of our sheriff candidates a round of applause. Thank you all very much. Next, we want to move on to the assessor's race, and Linda Sumner is the incumbent, and she's running unopposed. If you would please stand up, let's give Linda a round of applause. Moving on now to the magistrate race. Judge candidates will not be questioned. Candidates with opposition will have 1 minute to give a statement. Unopposed candidates will be recognized only. The timekeeper will ring the bell, alerting the candidate that they have 10 seconds remaining until time expires. Our first one up will be Bernard Bostic, who is in Division 1, Raleigh County Division 1. And if you would give us a 1 minute statement, Mr. Bostic.
Thank you. Well, you've heard the sheriffs talk about how education is important, and you've heard the sheriffs talk about how education is important. You've heard the judges talk about how experience is important. I've got both. I'm coming to you today, and I'm honored to be a candidate for Magistrate in Division 1. I have 45 years of dedicated service as an educator in Raleigh County, where I bring a wealth of experience and a deep commitment to our community. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege of teaching at various schools in our county, including Beckley College, Mountain State University, and Woodrow Wilson High School. At the same time, I've coached numerous sports teams, several of them to championships. So how does all this transfer from the classroom to the courtroom? Well, teachers on average make at least 1,500 decisions every school day. That's about 4 decisions a minute. And as a teacher, I've made countless split-second decisions, from resolving conflicts in the classroom to assessing student behavior and administering appropriate consequences. These experiences have honed my ability to weigh evidence, consider extenuating circumstances, and deliver fair judgments. I am committed to upholding the values of fairness, integrity, and justice as your magistrate. I will bring my decades of experience and dedication to serving our community from the classroom to the courtroom, ensuring that every individual receives a fair and equitable hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bostic. Running for Division I Magistrate. Next up, we have John Humphrey. Is John here? John Humphrey? Great.
My name is John Humphrey. I'm running for Magistrate Division I. As Mr. Bostic said, you know, the magistrate race is a little different. We can't get up here and promise you anything, do anything due to ethics. But where I do stand different than my other candidates, as most of you know, my uncle's a magistrate now, so I will get firsthand training that would go a long ways. I've been in business 26 years in Raleigh County, lifelong resident of Raleigh County. The county's treated me very well, so I look at this as an opportunity to give back to the county.
All right, thank you, Mr. Humphrey. Thank you. John Humphrey, Division I. Also running in Division I is Rachel Roush, who could not be with us today. She is here. Okay, forgive me. I'm sorry, forgive me. Rachel Roush, also running for Division I, Raleigh County Magistrate. Ms. Roush?
Good afternoon. My name is Rachel Roush, and I was born and raised in Raleigh County. I'm running in Division I as magistrate, and I believe that I'm uniquely situated to serve Raleigh County as magistrate judge for 3 reasons. First, competence. I attended Marshall University, where I earned a bachelor's and a master's degree in psychology. Thereafter, I attended WVU, where I earned a law degree. Second, experience. I worked for 5 years in forensics. I traveled to every regional jail, federal correctional institution, and detention center in West Virginia. While I was there, I interviewed to help lawyers and judges assess people. I performed assessments to help determine competency to stand trial, criminal responsibility, and dangerousness for people being released back out to the community. And lastly, and most importantly, integrity. I will uphold the law. I will treat people fairly, and I will exemplify excellence if chosen to be Division I magistrate. Vote for a candidate who knows the law and understands people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roush. Rachel Roush, running for Division I, Raleigh County Magistrate. Next up, Gary Vaughn. Gary?
Thank you, Jay. Thanks, everybody, for coming out and giving us all the opportunity and meeting all these folks. My name is Gary Vaughn. I'm a conservative person running for a nonpartisan position as magistrate in Division I. I'm asking you guys all to vote for me. I didn't write anything down. I apologize for that. I've worked in the bail bonding, fugitive recovery business for over 22 years. I've worked as a private detective for both sides. I've helped prepare cases for the prosecution. I've prepared and testified as an expert in cases for defendants as well as the prosecution side. Dealing with criminals every day for the last 22 years is why I'm running. I have actually the experience dealing with criminals. You see them every day. As a magistrate, you got to decide, do these people need a second chance? Do they not? I've supervised the release of criminals for over 22 years. The ones that needed picked up, I've picked them up. I've traveled the country bringing them back and putting them in jail. The ones that needed a second chance, I've done that for them as well. I want to keep doing that. It's time for me to move forward, and I'm asking you guys all to vote for me in May. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Gary Vaughn. That concludes Division 1, the candidates running in Division 1. In Division 2, it's Paul Bloom who is running unopposed. And I don't think Paul could be with us here today. I don't think he's here, but anyway, he is running in Division 2, unopposed. Moving to Division 3, next up, Tim Deems, Division 3, Raleigh County Magistrate. Mr. Deems?
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Tim Deems, a candidate for Raleigh County Magistrate in Division 3. I'm proud to be a lifelong resident of Raleigh County, a graduate of Woodrow Wilson High School, Bluefield State College, and the FBI National Academy. My wife Nicole and I live in Beckley and have been married for 25 years. I've been blessed to have a long and fulfilling career in law enforcement. I've served Raleigh County as a deputy sheriff, a police officer, and Beckley's chief of police. After 25 years, I retired from the police department, took a job as the enforcement director for the West Virginia Alcohol Beverage Control. I'm the only candidate for magistrate in Division 3 with endorsements from the Fraternal Order of Police, the West Virginia Deputy Sheriff's Association, and recently retired Magistrate Rick Jones. I believe experience matters, and the people of Raleigh County expect someone with knowledge of our laws and the ability to hold offenders accountable. As a proven leader with conservative values, I'm asking for your vote to put my experience and qualifications to work for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deems. Tim Deems, Division 3. Next up, we have Stephanie French, also running in Raleigh County Division 3 for Magistrate. Ms. French?
Hello, everyone. I'm Stephanie French, running for District 3. As of last election, I've kept my promise to the county to be a force to deal with. I have heavily taken people to recovery. I shout for recovery in every aspect. I distribute Narcan. We need to find better ways. There is no treatment here in West Virginia in our county. We need that. West Virginia leads the nation in fentanyl deaths. Beckley is now the worst city to live in the state of West Virginia. We need change. The last I checked, Southern Regional was not a revolving door. We cannot keep ignoring the problems that are before us because it's everywhere. I go into homeless encampments, I've been to trap houses, I've even had it out with a few drug dealers. They need to go. They need to be in prison. It needs to stop so that we can start healing our county. We have so many people that are affected by the opioid epidemic, and there's just nowhere to turn when the people are ready unless we send them out of our city and out of our county. So, with my experience with this and with the coalition, I'm asking for your vote because I know how to deal with these issues, and I think we need to find alternative means. And prison and rehab just seems to be our only thing. So we do need to come up with a lot of things for us. And I will judge people fairly and unbiased.
Thank you, Ms. French. Thank you. Also running in Division 3, next up, Guy S. Holliday. Mr. Holliday?
Thank you for having us here. Thanks to the Chamber and so forth. Just real quick, I was born and raised here in Raleigh County, and I chose to raise my children here. I've got 8 children, 4 still at home, 2 16-year-olds who send money and watch out on the roads. I have taught at the community college level. I've been a manager in retail, a supervisor in a factory, and I've owned my own construction company here in Raleigh County for the last 12 years. I was also president of North Beckley Youth Football for about 8 years. I've coached football, baseball, softball, and wrestling. I started officiating wrestling in 1997. I am now the current rules interpreter for the state for the youth wrestling, which requires a lot of late night phone calls to mothers and so forth who like to complain. Also in 2018, I was named the National Federation High School Official of the Year. And in my most noted accomplishment is as being a father. And I'm no stranger to dedication, hard work, and making tough calls both on the mat and off. I believe if you put the right people in the right position, change will occur. It's important for us not to lose the sight of that potential. Bottom line is, no lie, vote for Guy.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Holliday. Up next, Jody Lovelace Patrick, who's also running in Division 3. Ms. Patrick?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jody Lovelace Patrick, and I'm running for Division 3 for Magistrate. I'm born and raised here in Raleigh County. I'm a graduate from Woodrow Wilson High School and a graduate from Concord University with a bachelor's degree. The one thing that separates me from my other candidates in my division is experience, period. I have over 20 years of experience in Raleigh County judicial system. I first started out in the public defender's office. I have worked in magistrate court as an assistant to a former magistrate who is now retired. I currently serve as a family court case coordinator for one of our amazing family court judges. We cover Raleigh, Wyoming, and Summers County. I am very seasoned in criminal and civil law, and I am the absolute best choice for Division 3. I believe magistrate court is a firm foundation for our judicial system here in Raleigh County. Cases begin in magistrate court and they go to the second or third floor. We all know if we do not have a strong foundation, what can happen. We have to keep it as a well-oiled machine, and I am ready to work for Raleigh County and bring changes to make our system better. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lovelace Patrick. Thank you. Next up, we have Jeff McPeak, who is also running in Division 3. Mr. McPeak?
Good afternoon. My name is Jeff McPeak, and I'm running for magistrate in Division 3. I'm a lifelong resident of Raleigh County. I grew up in MacArthur. Was married in Raleigh County. I have two wonderful children, Justin and Jessica. I began my law enforcement career with the Beckley Police Department in 1997. Graduated the police academy in 1998, where the class voted me the most outstanding officer of the class. I went on to serve as a patrol officer at Beckley. I became an instructor for other officers at the department. I wrote the grant and served as the first police officer for Raleigh County school system. I worked at Woodrow Wilson for 3 years. I went on to be the director of the governor's highway safety program in Southern West Virginia, and then finally promoted to deputy chief of police for Beckley. After that, I worked at the courthouse as a bailiff for all the current magistrates. So I've worked there for 3 years, and I know the job quite well, and I hope that you will trust me to continue to work for you.
Thank you, Mr. McPeak. Thank you. Also running in Division 3 is Dustin Potter, and I don't think Mr. Potter could be with us today. So next up we have Loretta Stour Breedlove, also running in Division 3. Ms. Stour Breedlove.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Loretta Stowers Breedlove. I was born and raised right here in Raleigh County. I've worked and lived most of my adult life here. I've raised my children here. I am running for Magistrate Division 3, and I'd appreciate your vote. If elected, I bring with me interpersonal skills and knowledge of people, and I want everyone who would walk into my courtroom to get an impartial and fair trial. The Magistrate of Raleigh County does not have to have a legal degree. However, I think we all know the basic right from wrong, illegal from legal, and I promise to do my best to enforce those laws if given the chance to be your magistrate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stour Breedlove. That concludes Division 3. Moving on to Division 4, Greg Tanner is running in Division 4, and he is unopposed. Now we'll move on to Division 5 for Magistrate, and we have Tommy Peck from Raleigh Division 5, and is Ms. Peck with us here? Is she with us? Okay, not here, okay. Also running against Ms. Peck is Calvin Alexander, and that is Division 5, Raleigh County Magistrate race, and I don't believe Mr. Alexander's here as well, right? He's not here either, okay. So we'll move on to Division 6, and that would be Kenneth Bradley running for Raleigh Division 6. Ms. Bradley?
Sorry, I'm short. Like he said, my name is Kenneth Bradley, and I'm running for the magistrate position for Division 6. Like many of the magistrates before me, experience and education do matter. We need to have those in this position. And for myself, I am a graduate from Woodrow Wilson High School. I went to Marshall University and graduated there with a criminal justice degree. I've also went on to get 2 master's degrees, one in criminal justice and one in addiction studies. I also have had experience in the criminal justice division here in Raleigh County. I have worked in day report for 8 years, where I have dealt with criminals. I've dealt with CPS cases and many other cases. I've also worked with several local attorneys, where I have been their legal assistant for several years, working with cases, doing research and any other items as a legal assistant. I am well versed in the law. I've had to be in hearings. I have had to provide judges with information. I've been a part of the local drug court, juvenile and adult. I feel like with my experience and my education in this field that I would be the best candidate for a magistrate in Division 6. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bradley. We want to remind our audience on the radio stations that you're listening to WJLS, Beckley, West Virginia, also WWNR, Beckley, West Virginia. A little station ID there, and as we move on here to Raleigh Division 6, we're still in Division 6 for Magistrate. Matthew Epling.
Hello, my name is Matthew Epling. I'm running for District 6, Division 6 for Magistrate. I am the only true conservative that believes in parental rights in Division 6. I have 21 years of corrections experience, not just as a correctional officer, but I was a sergeant at Southern Regional Jail, where I ran the booking department, in which we dealt with the arraignment and the classification of inmates, offenders. I had the pleasure of also being an in-house magistrate and a hearing officer for 4 years in the 1990s, 1998 to 2004. I've owned businesses here in Beckley for almost 17 years. Everyone knows our family. We are philanthropists, and I just want your vote to be considered for me, or my vote to be considered for you, and just to let you know that I am the clear choice for Division 6 as a magistrate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Epling. Thank you.
No bail. That's it.
Also in Division 6, Xavier Oglesby, who is not here today, I don't believe, and also Terry Phillips is running in Raleigh Division 6, and he's not here as well. And that takes care of our magistrate race. Let's move on now to the surveyor, Raleigh County Surveyor. And neither of our surveyor candidates are able to attend today. On the Republican side, it's Mick Bates, who is running unopposed on the Republican side. And on the Democratic side, it's Timothy Cossett, who is not attending as well. He's running unopposed as well. So that is the surveyor race, Raleigh County Surveyor. So let's move on now. All right, we're going to take one quick break.
I'm going to fill that break, so don't anybody go anywhere. Just imagine this is a commercial break, okay? I do want to take a minute while we're making some slight adjustments to, again, thank some of our sponsors. I know we've had a lot of folks thank the Chamber of Commerce for putting on this event. I think our goal as a Chamber of Commerce was to have a session that would change up our format a little bit, but provide a lot of information to our Beckley, Raleigh County constituents, because this is we have a lot of important topics being discussed today. This event was made free to the public thanks to all of our sponsors. And if you have your little booklet, you can see them all, but I do want to recognize a couple of them again. The Cabins at Pine Haven, they are our presenting sponsor, and so we want to give them a lot of love and attention. So the Cabins at Pine Haven, and also our media sponsor of Southern Communications. So I think we're ready to continue, and I'll turn it back over to Jay.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you. Thank you for your support, too, from Pendleton Community Bank as well. We want to move to the Board of Education race, and I don't think we have any Board of Education folks here today, do we? I don't think so. But we do want to recognize them. In Raleigh 1, it's Richard Rick Snuffer II, and also Marcia K. Smith in Raleigh 1. And in Raleigh 2, it's Brad Bird DeFlumry, who is in Raleigh 2, and that's the Board of Education. You've got 2 in Raleigh 1 and 2 in Raleigh 2. We now want to move to the Conservation District Supervisor. And I need to defer to, we don't have them, not here, okay? All right. All right. Conservation District Supervisor, F. William Bill Harris. Are you here? Mark Harris? Okay, Mark. We're going to actually ask you a question here for Conservation District Supervisor. And we want to go to Mr. Gano, Cameron Gano from the Loop Press, because let me explain the ground rules. Candidates will be given the same question. Actually, we're going to mix it up just a little bit, give them a different question, and have 1 minute to answer. And you'll also have a 1 minute closing statement. So, if you will.
What motivated you to run for this position, and what qualities would you say you could bring to the job?
Say that one more time, please.
What motivated you to run for this position, and what qualities would you say you could bring to the job?
I'm really glad you asked. Thank you for that. So my name is Mark Harris, and I'm running for the Conservation District Supervisor. I'll answer your question in reverse order. First of all, I'm a retired U.S. Army officer, and so I was active duty for 25 years. I was reserved for a couple of years. In that job, I served as a physician for family medicine, and I did a lot of environmental health as well. So I did environmental health in Africa, the Middle East, Europe, and obviously the United States. I led several organizations while I was in uniform, small ones, large ones. I've got degrees in biology and chemistry. I've got advanced degrees in medicine and public health and business. And I've done a lot of teaching. One thing that so in terms of qualifications and whatnot, I certainly have got a lot of experience. What motivates me? So I look at it this way. Our Creator put us on this earth, and He gave us 2 instructions. Instruction number 1 was be fruitful and multiply. Instruction number 2 is to take care of the earth that He gave us. I think we can do them both. And one reason why I want to do Conservation District Supervisor is because I think that I'm a pretty good choice to do them both. And the bell just rang, so. All right, thank you. So I was asked what 3 issues are some of the most important. I'd say the first issue that's one of the most important is to minimize the risks between the environment and the people. Influenza, brucellosis, COVID, all those dangers to people from the environment. I'd say the second risk is we need to do everything we can to help all the environmental stakeholders, whether they're farmers, whether they are developers, whether they're people who want to go out and have a picnic at Little Beaver State Park. We need to balance all those people's needs. We also need to do everything that we can do to restore the natural world in West Virginia. We've done some damage, but we can make it better. And I would suggest to you that I'm the best choice of people who are running for Conservation District Supervisor to meet those 3 things that we really need to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Mark Harris, who is running for Conservation District Supervisor. The other candidate in the race, Edgar F. Hendrick Jr., couldn't be with us today. So we're going to move on now to the circuit clerk race. And we'll do a 1 minute question for the only one that's here today, James Paul Chapman, who's running for Raleigh County Circuit Clerk. And we have a question now from Micah Leith of WOAY-TV.
Hello, sir. Thank you for being with us today. The circuit clerk is an important role in the judicial system at the county level. Can you talk about how your specific experience has qualified you to help the judge navigate the many cases that will be brought forth? Thank you.
To be able to do the job in the circuit clerk's office, there must be integrity and security on all cases that are filed, whether it be criminal, civil, judicial, whether it would be for juvenile mental hygiene or things like that. I believe that the 14 years of experience that I have, that I've worked in that office, gives me that experience to be able to, on day one, sit down at that desk and continue to run a smooth operation to make sure that every citizen in Raleigh County, for whatever reason they come into our office, whether it be for a passport or a name change, that they would be shown with a lot of integrity and a lot of information that we could give them.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. You have a 1-minute closing statement.
As he said, let me say thank you to the Chamber for doing this and all the sponsors. My name's James Chapman, and I have been a lifelong resident of Raleigh County. The time that I did not live here was the 10 years that I spent in the United States Army, where I served both stateside and across sea in Germany. My experience for the Raleigh County Circuit Clerk's office is not just for a job. It's a passion that I've had for the last 14 years to be able to help the circuit judges, the judicial judges, and to assist in any opportunity that we can assist with the magistrate courts. As I said, integrity and security of all records by processing them accurately and efficiently. As most of you know, the attorneys are now filing e-filing, which allows us to process each file, each claim, not claim, but each criminal, civil suits on a much more timely basis. So therefore, the last 14 years, I have committed my life to helping the citizens of Raleigh County. Before that, I worked in other public services to where I was able to also help in other public services. Once again, I would ask that you would consider me on May the 14th, because I am the experienced clerk to be able to sit down and do the job on day one.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Thank you. The other candidate running in the race for Circuit Clerk, Raleigh County Circuit Clerk, Breanne Steele, could not be with us today. So we're going to move on now to the mayoral race for the city of Beckley. And I believe what we want to do is call all the mayoral candidates up, including Robert Patterson Dunlap, Matt Line, Ryan Neal, Marvin Robinson, and Michael Enrique Smith. If you all come to the stage, and we're going to ask you some questions here, so welcome. And our first question, are we going to use a... Our first question will be to Mr. Dunlap, and the question will come from 59 News, Rivers Upchurch, please.
Okay, Mr. Dunlap. Let's see, okay. As the position transitions into a role with less power over government, what would you do to make sure the mayor's office still plays an important role in leading the city of Beckley?
Fantastic question. And I think everyone that isn't aware, we've engaged in something that's changed Beckley's trajectory forever. No longer are we going to be a single mayoral vision for everything that follows. The administration will now be 7 separate individuals that all have different views, different initiatives. Frankly, our constituents can reach better as to what we want to see happen. So whoever mayor is, any of these individuals, we just have to make sure we select someone that all of our citizens understand their vision, their statements are filtered through that new system. And it's going to be one of inclusion. Yes, I'm going to open meetings, and I'm going to cut ribbons, and I'm not going to say racist and sexist and out-of-date things. And I'm going to make us look progressive if I'm chosen. But more importantly than that, I do come to the table with a Juris Doctorate and an MBA and 20 years legal experience and lived in lots of other cities, so I saw what works, what doesn't work. Yes, all that's coming. But specifically to your question, I'm going to make sure my door is always open so that the council members that haven't served before that come will have the benefit of what it meant to be on council or to have served on different commissions, Historic Landmark Commission, Human Rights Commission. I bring all of that experience with, and the door in my ears will always be open.
Thank you, Mr. Dunlap. Let's do a question number 2 for you from Ben Schwartz of WVVA TV.
Excuse me, thank you. The city of Beckley recently walked back a move to become an inclusive recovery city. Do you support or not support that decision?
You know, it's fascinating because it's systemic of the problem we had and the problem we just fixed by going to strong council ceremonial mayor. The mayor had touched base with someone at Seed Sowers. He thought this was a great idea, and his words, I didn't really expect the backlash. Well, that's what happens when you don't include everyone in the conversations. And in fact, I'm proud of our constituents because everyone spoke up loudly. They needed more information. Did they find out from Seed Sowers that it's really more of a collaboration of all the different organizational programs we already have? Did they get good information, or did they grab pitchforks and torches and get upset? It was the latter. But that being said, it isn't that the designation necessarily is something that is to be afraid of. It's something that needed more information, and the citizens didn't get it. The mayor was ready to pass a proclamation for us to be this type of a city, and of course it created a lot of uproar. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What it is it's an opportunity for us to discuss what's best for the city and for us to make a collaborative decision. And that's what the new government's going to lead us for.
Thank you, Mr. Dunlap. If you'll stay on the stage, we're going to call you back for a minute closing statement. But right now, we want to call Matt Lon up and get a question from him. If you'll join us right here. And the question is from Lola Reiser of WWNR. Lola?
Good morning, or good afternoon. A lot of people want to see the downtown development of Beckley move forward. We hear a lot of plans, a lot of thoughts and ideas. What do you see as a vision for revitalizing downtown Beckley?
That's a great question, Lola, and one that's not so hard to answer. The future of Beckley is tourism, people coming in, spending their dollars, having a good time, and those people want to see restaurants, they want to see shopping, they want to see a nice clean street where they can walk down with their family and have fun. They want to see a wide open available Wi-Fi system so they can feel attached to home when they're still away. And these are some of the things that we need to do. Wi-Fi is still hard to come by in this area, and we need to do a better job of bringing that to people, maybe even providing it free to the citizens of Beckley. Costs of these systems have come down in recent years, and that's something that should be investigated. We need to do a better job of rehabbing some of our heritage sites. Historically, the city has done a very good job of buying up old buildings and then tearing them down. These buildings are of architectural significance, and they're a lot prettier than what we've built in their place, which are parking lots and the judicial complex. So I think that we could do a better job with what we have already.
Okay, second question for you from Damon Kane of the Register Herald.
Yes, hi. The city of Beckley is expected to receive millions of dollars from opioid settlement. How would you like to see the city spend those funds specifically, and why?
Well, Damon, specifically, we need a rehab center. Not just any rehab center, not just one similar to the ones that we have now that are treated mostly like hotel come-and-goes for people. You know, it's almost as if they're treated like a homeless shelter. We need a facility where people can go and they can stay for a length of time, because studies show that recidivism rates are much lower with people who actually have a wealth of support. If they go in, studies show that it takes at least 5 attempts for someone who's on drugs before they actually have a real good shot at kicking them. So we can't just be kicking these people out. 30 days, you're up, time to go. That's not going to help anybody. They go back to where they came from, and they end up doing drugs again, and the problem just continues. So we need to do a better job of giving them the support they need to actually get off drugs and become positive members of our community.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon. If you'll hang around, we'll call you back for a closing statement. Next up, Ryan Neal, who also is running for mayor of the city of Beckley. And our question comes from Keith Thompson of WJLS.
Thank you, Jay. Ryan, thank you for being here. Sure. There's a movement out in the city of Beckley to make Canoa Street from Main Street to the intersection with Johnstown, Beaver Avenue, a one-way road. And this is going to take out, this traffic would be going out. This will take out a major thoroughfare coming into the city of Beckley. Mm-hmm. And I know this is a state highway, but if you're mayor, what's your thoughts on this?
So I was at the meeting where Dr. Stewart did the presentation a couple weeks ago, and to me it makes sense. It makes sense because I will stand here and tell you I have driven down that road at 40 miles an hour sometime, and some college kid's about to cross a road, and I'm like, what am I doing? And I see it all the time. It's one thing Dr. Stewart said when I talked to him. He was like, people do not drive 25 miles an hour. So he's got a great point. Does it take one kid to get hit? I think he had a guy at the meeting that had been hit 4 times on his bike. I think one of the things too is, like, I asked Dr. Stewart about JanCare because I knew JanCare was kind of worried about it to response times and things like that, but he said JanCare had already signed off on it. So if JanCare had signed off on it, it makes it safer for the students. I mean, I don't see it as a bad idea. I want to see that college grow. I mean, it's an economic boom for us. They got 1,600 students. They got room for 2,500 students. We should be doing everything we can to make it safe for those students. I think we owe it to their parents. So I thought it was a great presentation. I'm for it 100%.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Next question for you from Cameron Gano of the Loot Press.
If elected, you'll be in the public eye, and you're likely to be the subject of a great deal of scrutiny, not all of it warranted, which can be a challenging position not only for an individual, but also for their families and loved ones. Mm-hmm. How might you go about navigating those types of challenges?
Man, it's almost like you've been sitting in my household for the last 8 weeks. I mean, that's a very serious issue, and my fiance and I have talked about it many a times. I mean, I grew up here in Beckley. I love our city. I've got family here. My parents are here. My fiance's like, why do you want to put yourself out there? And it's the reason why I was running for mayor to start with. I've been a small business owner for 10 years. I've got great kids, including one in attendance today that works for me, and they do a great job running the store, and I've started limiting my time there. So I thought with Rob Rappold not running for re-election, I was like, man, why not do something like that? Why not be the mayor? Is it an easy decision? No. I said, is it going to be tough? Yes. The criticisms, the late night calls, everybody's second guessing you. You know how it is. Everybody's a Monday morning quarterback. But I think as long as you try to do what's best for the city, which is what I will do, as long as I put the interests of the city and the citizens first, I think it'll be fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Next up, Marvin Robinson. And we have a question for Mr. Robinson from Micah Leith from WOAY-TV.
I want to follow up on a question that was asked earlier about the move to a city manager style of government. Specifically, I want to talk about the public input for it. There are a lot of people that felt when the decision was made they didn't get enough input in that move. As Beckley transitions to a city manager style of government, how will you get the citizens of Beckley involved in helping guide that transition? Thank you.
Okay. I get an echo in my ears, so I hope I got the question right. You want to know what the city manager compared to a strong mayor?
How will the public get a chance to kind of guide that transition to a city manager style?
I think it should have been on the ballot for the citizens to choose whether they wanted a city manager or mayor, strong mayor. That way you get the citizens involved, the people will have input, and you just can't discard them,
Thank you.
Next question from Rivers Up Church, 59 News.
Thank you very much. What is something that our current mayor, Rob Rappold, has done that you would have done differently? Like, what would you have changed if you were mayor?
There's a couple of properties that was bought. I wouldn't have bought those without the input of the citizens of Beckley. I think they should have had a say into whether that purchase, property should have been purchased. You're talking about quite a bit of money, over $4 million. That's a lot of things they could have done, $4 million. Help clean, bring industries to Beckley, bring jobs here.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
Yes, sir.
Next up, Michael Enrique Smith. And our questions from Ben Schwartz of WVVA TV.
Thank you. Hello, sir. With the city's recent move to turn to a city manager style of government.
Not yet.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Not yet.
Going to happen, though. Okay.
Go ahead.
Has that influenced how you're running your campaign here
Not
at
a bit.
all?
Not a bit. Here's the thing. All power of men or devils over other men or devils is given by God. So, either I'm elected mayor or I'm not. We may deserve Biden. Who knows? I'm here for the party and the swag. Anything else?
Another question from Lola Reiser of WWNR.
Hello, sir. Coming up next week is an open house regarding the 24 comprehensive plan for the city of Beckley.
Cool.
What items would you like to see included, and how much of that plan do you think will actually come to be?
I don't think I've looked at that yet, but I think that what we need is a state hospital in Beckley, or at least Raleigh County, to help us with all the mental ill people we have running around the streets. I walk the streets. I talk to them. They're not well. They need help. They're in the roads, okay? They're gonna get run over, all right? They might attack someone. They might hurt someone. I'm not afraid of them, but my ex-wife is, okay? And there are other people that are afraid of them. And we need to help those people not be afraid when they walk the streets of our city.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We now will ask for 1-minute closing statements, and we want to ask Mr. Dunlap to come back up and do a 1-minute closing statement.
In a quick minute, I know it's sort of not a badge of honor to have served on council, considering so many people are expressing discontent with the way things have went. I would argue that, in fact, if you paid attention to those of us that dissented whenever things were proposed that we didn't support or that the constituents didn't support, then your choice should be easy. It matters that I was on the Landmark Commission with Ms. Bechtel. It matters that I was on the Human Rights Commission with Ms. Bechtel, excuse me. I have experience, and I wouldn't have ran for council until I served as a commissioner. I wouldn't run for mayor until I'd been a council. That experience absolutely matters, because you learn how things happen, and you learn how things frankly don't happen. I hope folks will see the material I've put out, because it does talk about my education. I'm not going to go up here and go on and on about initiatives. There's tons of things we know we can do better. The technology park that we were just gifted, thank you, Ms. Kissinger, Mr. Baker, why haven't we developed it? Why haven't we done a number of things that we could do? Frankly, because City Council has not had the ability to put something on the agenda for the 4 years I've been on here. How terrific, Ms. Bullock, will it be for you to be able to say, I want this on the agenda, and it show up? How exciting will that be? Thank you very much. Bottom line is we're going to make a difference with your all's help. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Dunlap. Next up, Matt Lyon. 1-minute closing statement, please.
Thank you. My name is Matthew Lon. I'm running for mayor, as you all know. And this is kind of like a welcome who I am to all of you, because I think maybe there's only about 4 or 5 of you who even knew my name before I walked in today. So, howdy. What Mr. Dunlap gets right is a lot of stuff. But what he doesn't get right is that the path to getting an item on the agenda solely goes through the mayor as of right now. And even with the change in government that was proposed and voted on and changed, it's still going to run through the mayor. And that in itself is the problem. There is no clear path for either a councilman or a public citizen to get something heard before the council. So, if elected, I intend on bringing an amendment before the council to amend our charter to allow for a more clear and direct path and greater public participation in government, because government works better when we all participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lon. Mr. Ryan Neal, a 1-minute closing statement, please.
I can tell you, looking out here, I know most of you all, well, I'll say I know a lot of you, and it's pretty humbling to be standing in front of you, and it's an honor just to be able to speak and to each one of you all. If you want somebody that's honest, if you want someone that's transparent, if you want someone with a burning desire to put the city first and do what's right, I'm your guy. Vote me, Ryan Neal, Mayor, City of Beckley. Thanks.
Thank you. First of all, I want everybody to know that I am an devout Christian. I have over 30 years experience as law enforcement, have over 29 years experience as military, and over 50 years of business experience here in Beckley, West Virginia. I am seeking the office of mayor. I like to make a difference to the citizens of Beckley. And with my background, my training, my knowledge, I make an excellent mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. And finally, Mr. Smith, a 1-minute closing statement, please.
God help you if you elect me mayor. That's all I gotta say. Because there's things in the charter that I've read we're not doing. There's a lot of things we're not doing. We're not enforcing certain laws we could be. I'm all about enforcement. Now, if Epling wins, God willing, and all that stuff that they didn't ask you your opinion about gets thrown out, then we go to the strong mayor, and we had a strong mayor, and he built a beautiful police station, and crime went up. He built a beautiful fire station, and more houses burned down. So the building don't matter. It's the intention of what you're doing that matters. I look in certain candidates' eyes and I see either fear or bravery, and we need bravery in this city. Now, we don't need somebody to poke you for no reason and lie in court about it, but that's another story that I'm going to leave alone for now. We don't need somebody who says, the Beckley citizens shouldn't have the right to decide. We decide for you. We know better than you. I don't think I know better than you. I want to hear from you. My number's on my card.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Let's give all the mayoral candidates a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Moving along to City Council at large, both the candidates are running unopposed. And the two candidates are Sherry Hunter and Cody Reedy. Let's give them a round of applause and thank them for their service to our community. Now we want to move on to City Council, Beckley City Council. And we'd like to call up Ward 1 first, which would be Natalie Coots, Kristen O'Neill, and Tom Sofer. And what we're going to do, we're going to ask you all 2 questions and then ask for a 60-second closing statement. And we want to begin with Ms. Coots. Is she?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the instructions? I couldn't hear you. Do you want us all here?
No. We'll begin with you, Ms. Coots. What we want you to do, we're going to take a couple of questions and then we'll ask you to come back and do a closing statement.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, our first question for you comes from Damon Kane, the editor of the Register Herald.
Hi.
Hi.
So the City Council has ordered up a study and looking for a recommendation on what to do with its swimming pools, which are not in real good shape, as reported by the Chief of Parks and Recreation. What do you hope to see in those recommendations? In other words, what do we need to do with our swimming pools?
We have to have opportunities for our youth. I'm a longtime teacher. I've been an advocate for kids my entire career. And I would like to see the city hire a full-time grant writer so that we can take advantage of the money that is available, and then we can begin to work on things like getting our pools open. doing necessary repairs to the properties that already belong to the city.
Second question from Keith Thompson, WJLS, for Ms. Coots. Keith?
All righty, thank you. As most everybody in here knows, there's been so much controversy over the building the city owns, the restaurant that's in it, folks that are occupying the third floor. Your thoughts?
On the city buildings, I have a lot of thoughts. I'm not sure if I can finish it in 1 minute. I'm against the city becoming landlords. I don't understand why that's necessary. I understand that some of those properties need to be fixed. I understand that they're sitting within our city confines. But I don't think city government should be landlords. That means upkeep. That means use of our city's resources. That means someone has to pay the insurance bill. It also means that we're going to use our city workers to attend to that when they really could be attending to other things that could draw more tourism into our town.
Thank you, Ms. Coots. We'll call you back for a closing statement. We want to move now to Kristen O'Neill. If you join us at the podium, and we have a question coming up from Cameron Gano of the Loot Press.
Using Damon's question as a jumping off point, lifeguard shortages have put the opening of city pools in potential jeopardy for a number of years now. How might you say we could go about attracting lifeguards to the area and creating something sustainable so there isn't so much uncertainty with the pool situation every year?
Okay. So I talked with the Parks and Rec, Leslie Baker, and she told me that there will be 7 returning lifeguards, but there is a lot of work that needs to be done on our pools. So I would recommend that we do whatever needs to be done, but we don't have to, I wouldn't say we have to reinvent the wheel, but we could make the pools more of an attraction. You know, have a splash pad, update the slides, that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you. Next question from Micah Leith of WOAY for Kristen O'Neill, Ward 1, City of Beckley.
Southern West Virginia is becoming more and more dependent on tourism in its economy, and Beckley is one of the biggest population centers along that Route 19 corridor. What role do you on City Council want to play to help Beckley shift to more of a tourism-based economy going forward? Thank you.
Well, you know, we have a lot of things. We have Theater West Virginia. That's a wonderful attraction. We have our youth museum, and we have our coal camp. I think we could just, you know, like I said earlier about the pools, make these more of an attraction. And, you know, well, actually, you know, 30 minutes down the road, Princeton, Mercer County, they are building a sports complex. And there's going to be several ball fields. They're going to have a dog park and restaurants and retail. You know, I would like to see our city move in the direction more of family-oriented activities. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. If my voice is shaking, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ms. O'Neill.
Okay.
Next up, Tom Sofer. And we have a question for Tom from Rivers Up Church of 59 News.
Hi, Tom.
Make it hard now.
Okay. All right. Well, you asked for it. Okay. One of council's most public issues right now is the investigation into finances of Fruits of Labor. How would you handle balancing a sort of investigation into what's going on between the city and Fruits of Labor while also supporting the people who are in that program and in recovery?
About the Fruits of Labor, first of all, I have sat on city council for 12 going on 13 years, and I did not approve the vote. I did not vote for the building to be purchased by the city, but we have it, you know. And first of all, on that issue, we definitely need to have a lease in place. This lease should have been in place before we probably even bought the building. we should have had some kind of contract saying that, like, hey, we'll buy the building, you know, but we want to make sure you go in that building, okay? Because I always thought, it was like, well, heck, they could just back out on us, but they haven't. They've stuck it out. But right now, we do need to get a lease for that building for them, and this is in the process right now. Their mission is wonderful. You know, I don't think anybody can deny what they're doing up there. I know the community has reached out and, you know, went there and, you know, enjoyed food and everything like this, but, you know, and I hope that continues. But right now, the city has to get a lease for that building. I mean, we lease, I was telling Damon earlier, a parking space in Beckley, if you go rent a parking space, you pay them money and they want to know like what your license plate number is and who to call in case of an accident, this, that, and other. And here we got almost $1 million building and we don't have a lease on it, and that's sad.
Next question for Mr. Sofer comes from Ben Schwartz of WVVA.
Thank you. What do you believe is, personally as a council member, what do you believe is the best way to prevent people from getting into drug addiction in the first place in Beckley that you would be able to help implement as a council member?
Say that last part again.
That you would be able to help implement as a council member?
What can I implement?
I'm sorry, I'm asking about to prevent people from getting addicted to drugs in Beckley in the first place.
I'm not understanding. I'm sorry.
Let me rephrase. I'm sorry.
What's the topic? What's the topic?
Drug addiction, prevention.
Drug addiction, okay.
Yeah. How would you help prevent drug addiction from happening here? People from being addicted.
Well, that starts early in life, I believe, and I know the city probably with some of that COVID money, I mean not the COVID, the opiate money will be used for like a DARE program for the city police. I know they're already, you know, working towards that. I think prevention is the best cure for this. I don't know what to do with people on drugs. I'm affected by that like everybody else has had a family member die by opiate addiction and things. It's terrible. I understand that. But right now, I think we should start with our youth and try to get drug prevention things, get your children involved in athletics and sports, and hopefully we can get the swimming pool up and running, teach swimming classes, and from that point forward, you know, let's try to, you know, discourage drugs to the kids as the best we can. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Sofer. Thank you. We now want a 1-minute closing statement. We begin with Natalie Coots, also running in Ward 1 for the City Council of Beckley. Ms. Coots?
I am Natalie Coots. I am running for Beckley Common Council, Ward 1. A few things are really important to me. First of all, I'm a proven leader. I've been leading kids for 30 plus years, and I still work in the school system training new teachers. I believe in the city of Beckley. I am a lifelong Beckleyan. I remember the heyday when Beckley was the second growing fastest city in the U.S. Now, maybe we can't go back to the economics that provided that, but we can take back our city. We need to deal with the homelessness and the vagrancy issues so that we can attract downtown businesses. We need to be transparent with our city government. We wouldn't be where we are right now had the citizens had more knowledge of IRC. I don't know if it's a good thing or not. I wasn't told. But people will drink the sand in the desert mirage because they don't know the difference. We have to provide transparency. When you don't provide information, then people are going to find out on their own, and whether it's correct or not does not matter. My campaign slogan is Build a Better Beckley. I believe that we can. I believe in my hometown. I believe in the citizens. So let's do this together.
Thank you, Ms. Coots. Natalie Coots. Next up, Kristen O'Neill, Ward 1, a 1-minute closing statement.
Okay. So my name's Kristen O'Neill, and I've lived here for 40 years. My husband and I have a small business. O'Neill and Associates. It's an accounting corporation. And I decided to run because I think that we need to take a bold shift in direction of our city to more family-friendly activities. Like I mentioned earlier, Princeton or Mercer County, and actually Fayette County, they are drug-free communities. And currently we have a young woman, she is completing a grant application to make us a drug-free community. So we can build on that, and we can make Beckley, you know, an attraction for other families. You know, my daughter, she moved back here after her husband got out of the military. So we're glad that they're back, and lots of young families are back, and we want to keep them here in Beckley. So we have to offer something to these kids and their families. So I would appreciate your vote. I want to earn your vote. You know, just know that much. I think government is way too big, and they've lost their way. We should have a government by the people and for the people. And I want to serve you in Ward 1 for a fresh start for Beckley. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Neill. Next up, a 1-minute statement, closing statement from Tom Sofer. Mr. Sofer?
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay. What do I say? I love Beckley. It's my home, and I just adore it. I volunteered throughout the community for many years, beginning as a Little League manager, as well as president of the Jewish Temple here for more than 20 years. I was president of the Raleigh County Historical Society for 13 years, and I'm currently on the board of the West Virginia Humanities Council, the local Salvation Army, and I serve the City Council for Ward 1. I've done that, like I said before, almost 13 years. I do have a few things I'd like to see happen if I become, you elect me as your representative for Ward 1. Firstly, I'd like to see a new Maxwell Hill Community Center with the new playground equipment. Parks and Recs are currently seeking funding for this. Secondly, I would love to see the Beckley Mill area developed as a visitor center. It is situated right off of I-64 on Clarence W. Meadows Boulevard near the Piney Creek Bridge. Thirdly, I'd love to see West Virginia Tech breathe new life into our uptown area. In conjunction with this, I think it is time we have free parking uptown. Please give me a vote if you live up on Maxwell Hill or near Crescent School. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sofer. Let's give the Ward 1 candidates a round of applause. Thank you all. We want to move now to Ward 2. And the candidates in Ward 2 are Robert Kenneth Cantor III, who is not able to attend, Sam Corey, also not attending, Roy Redden from Ward 2, not attending, and we have Nancy Shoemaker-Dingus, who is from Ward 2, and she is here with us. Welcome, and we have a question for you. Next up from Lola Reiser of WWNR.
Be gentle.
My question is again regarding that downtown development area. The things that you hear, of course, when people talk about bringing their families downtown is that they don't feel safe down in that area. Also, there has been a lot of comments just regarding the lack of parking and space. What are your thoughts about those two issues?
Well, having been in business downtown years ago before the shopping centers came in and spent a lot of time downtown, it has definitely gone in the wrong direction. I would like to see people be able to walk down the street and not worry about the other people on the street. We need to bring more business downtown. We need to get more of the buildings filled. I think that would help tremendously. With the money that Beckley I thought had at one point. Of course, they bought some other buildings. I think they could have done some tax advantages maybe to get more businesses in town. And I would think that that would be something in the future, or the near future, we could look at, because the more businesses we get downtown, I think the better response, and I think a lot of the people that are down there will probably go somewhere else.
Thank you.
Next question from Damon Kane of the Register Herald.
Thank you. The city is currently working to put together its comprehensive plan for the next 10 years. What are some areas you would like to plan to focus on, and why?
Well, to be honest, one of my favorite areas to go to happens to be downtown Lewisburg. That's what my husband and I consider a treat, is to go down there and spend Saturday having a nice meal and going to the different shops. That is something I'd like to envision for Beckley, and I really don't see why it could not happen. We've got the area, we've obviously got the buildings right now. We just need to change the mindset of the people around this town. As far as parking, years ago they kept taking everything away from us because they needed parking, and they still say we need parking. That would be something that the council would need to look at. But we do have the buildings. I'm sure we could get someone in to help us do some kind of format or plan to do a downtown like that, and bring back the little shops that people enjoy going to, and maybe some art galleries.
Thank you, Ms. Dinges. We need a 60-second closing statement.
I get no rest. Well, my name is Nancy Shoemaker Dingus. I have lived in Beckley, West Virginia for well over 60 years. My father brought the family up here when I was in grade school, and his comment was this was the prettiest place he'd ever seen. And he absolutely loved this place and tried to make it better when he was on the council and in office. I have been a loan officer, a retail person, and I'm currently a loan specialist in housing for the USDA. So I've got lots of good thoughts on things we could do on housing around here, and I can pull from lots of different areas of my expertise in that time to help with the housing, because I feel like with the university and stuff here, West Virginia Tech, that we're going to need some more nice places for some of these kids to go, not just the dormitories, but some really nice housing rentals for them to stay in. And that is something I don't see in my ward, which that is my ward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dingus. That's Nancy Shoemaker Dingus from Ward 2, City of Beckley. Thank you for being with us today. We want to call up the council candidates for Ward 3. Aaron Adams, Tom Mosley, Emily Tate, and Frank Williams, if you'll come up to the stage. And while they're getting to the stage, we want to thank our sponsor, Truist Bank, for making this possible. We appreciate their support and the support of all the candidates in making this future forward a success here at the Beckley-Raleigh County Chamber of Commerce. Aaron Adams is not with us, okay, all right. Tom Mosley, if you'll come up, and we're going to have a question for you. And our first question is going to be from Keith Thompson of WJLS. Keith?
Thank you very much, Jay. Tom, good evening. Glad you're with us. As you know, and as a lot of people know, we have a homeless issue and situation in the city of Beckley. 4 o'clock comes twice a day. in case anybody ever thought it didn't. I go to work about 4 o'clock in the morning, and there's many a time that I'll see as many people on the streets in Beckley at 4 o'clock in the morning as I see at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. What will you do, and what can you do if elected on this issue and this problem?
Well, it's definitely an issue. You know, we have to start at home, and we have to start taking care of these folks. We have to get programs in place to get our homeless off the street. We have to have re-educational programs to get them back into the workforce. I think a lot of these folks don't know there's help available, and we haven't done our job as a city to let them know we can help them. It's just as much our fault as it is theirs that they're there. And that's where we have to start. We have to take a look at ourselves, what we can do, and we have to make these programs available and spread the knowledge to these folks to get them off the street.
Thank you, Mr. Mosley. The next question's from Cameron Gano of the Loot Press.
What are some qualities you feel are important in a city council member, and in what ways might you say you exemplify those qualities?
Well, you know, we have to, as city council, we have to be members of the community to start with. And I think that's a big quality. But we have to have heart enough to go out and help people. We can't sit there and judge. We can't make programs and laws and expect people just to understand it. And I think that's vital to this community. We have dropped the ball for far too long, and it's time we stand up and do something about it. But it starts with council. It starts right with council, and then we have to be transparent to the citizens so we can all work together to make this happen.
Thank you, Mr. Mosley. We will call you back for a closing statement in just a moment. We want to invite Emily Tate up to the podium, also running for Ward 3 Council, and our questions from Micah Leith from WOAY-TV.
My question for this one's pretty quick. What does the next city council need to do to make Beckley more attractive for businesses that are looking to relocate to the area?
One thing we need is better infrastructure. That is the key to attracting businesses. High-speed internet, good roads so that they can transport goods in and out, sewer, water, all of that. I mean, that is the basic building blocks as government, is to supply good infrastructure. If we have that and good school systems for, you know, the kids and things that would be coming in with these people starting the businesses, I think that's what's going to make us more attractive, is just to have, you know, what they need to come here. I think it's a lot bigger than tax breaks and advertising. I think they have to have the infrastructure to build here, and we are a little bit behind on that. Our sidewalks are crumbling. We have telephone poles in the middle of them. You know, we have roads that are, you know, difficult to traverse sometimes, especially when you have panhandlers at the intersections and things like that. And I think the main thing is just infrastructure.
Next question for Ms. Tate from Rivers Up Church, 59 News.
Hello, Ms. Tate. How will you manage working with a new city manager who may have a completely different idea about how the city government should be run?
Thank you for that question. I've attended a couple of the workshops for the city manager, and as of now, there's a lot of things up in the air at how that government is going to work, how much is going to be the responsibility of the mayor, how much is going to be turned over to a city manager, and how much the council is going to be responsible for. So there's a lot of variables that haven't been set in place. As of now, my understanding is city council will bring agenda items to the mayor and the city manager, and that's how they'll be put forward for vote. It's really tough without knowing exactly what the parameters of this new government is going to be. I think it should have been up to the people to vote for it. I think it's being rushed, and there's just not a lot we know. I mean, running for city council, I'm not, and lots of us are not sure exactly what our responsibilities are going to be and how that is going to change with that new type of government. Hopefully we will have more power to get things onto the agenda so that we can change things and make Beckley a better place.
Thank you, Ms. Tate.
Thank you.
We want to ask Frank Williams, who's also running, Ward 3, City Council of Beckley, up to the podium, and our question is from Ben Schwartz of WVVA.
Hello. With the upcoming change to a city manager style of government, how important do you think it is that the public is confident in council And if you do think that's important, how can you help boost that confidence from the public?
Well, as far as having to work, that's not a true statement because it has not been put in force yet. But as far as myself, I can work with anybody. If you get a group of people that want to move forward with the city of Beckley, it can be done, regardless. We just got to agree, and we're going to disagree. But the main thing is, it's not about me, it's about the city of Beckley, what's best for them.
Next question for Mr. Williams, Lola Reiser, WWNR.
Hello, Mr. Williams. Should you be elected, would you be for or against annexing the so-called holes within the city limits that are still designated as county?
Yes. My past was going door to door selling insurance. I would have no problems going door to door, convincing people to come into the city of Beckley. The city of Beckley has a lot to offer. That is one of the things that's hurting us right now because it's like you go up Maxwell Hill Road, part of Maxwell Hill, when you go up, it's not in the city of Beckley up to get up to the turn. Then you're in the city of Beckley. But if we let the people know, and the reason why they should come in and get their opinion on why they should come in, because it'll make Beckley bigger, better, and stronger.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. We want to remind our radio audience that this program is called Future Forward, brought to you by the Beckley-Raleigh County Chamber of Commerce. Our sponsor this afternoon is Truist Bank, and you're listening to WJLS Beckley and WWNR Beckley, and we thank you for listening, and we thank the audience here that is attending as well at the Beckley-Raleigh County Convention Center. And we want to go back to Mr. Mosley and ask you, Mr. Mosley, from Ward 3, Beckley City Council, to give us a 60-second closing statement.
Hello, I'm Tom Mosley. Most of you know me as conservative. This election for council transcends political boundaries. We have one unique opportunity here to get a council in place that believes in transparency, that believes in helping the community. The good old boys club time is over. We have to move forward. We have to get council in place that will work with and listen to our community. And that's the only way we can move forward. I say it's time for a change. That's my political statement. If you elect me in office, it's time we enact that change. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mosley. Tom Mosley, running for Ward 3 in the city of Beckley. Next up, Emily Tate. We'd like a 1-minute closing statement, please.
Okay, thank you. My name is Emily Tate, and I've been a resident of Raleigh County for over 40 years and a citizen of Beckley for almost 20. I'm a mother of 3 and a grandmother, and I've raised my children here in Beckley. They've went to Crescent and Park and Woodrow, and I would love to create a better future for them to stay here in the city of Beckley. We have a unique opportunity in May to start with a clean slate as far as city government goes. New mayor, completely new council, so that we can show up for our communities and begin a fresh start for the city of Beckley and give it a brighter future for everybody. I think we need to have more recreational choices. We need to improve our pool. We need to get more lifeguards, maybe even pay for certifications for those lifeguards so that they're more willing to stay and work, even with bonuses. We are now beside a new national park, which will bring us more tourism opportunities and more business opportunities if we make Beckley inviting for them. And to do all that, I think we need to improve our infrastructure, our housing, and just education. The basic function of government is the ability to build and improve infrastructure, and all opportunities are created upon that. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak, and I'm always available to talk and for questions. And please vote for me, May 14th, Emily Tate.
Thank you, Ms. Tate. Emily Tate, running for Ward 3 City Council, and we want to invite Frank Williams back up for your closing statement. 1 minute, please, Mr. Williams.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for just giving me the opportunity to speak to you. I was born and raised here in the city of Beckley, been here all my life, East Park, over 70 years. Been married to my lovely wife out there somewhere for going on 50 years come July. Beckley is my hometown. The only way that we can grow together, we got to be able to sit down and talk to one another. Not saying I'm better than you, you know better than me. But if we come with common grounds for one common goal, to make the city of Beckley the strongest southern West Virginia town in West Virginia. I'm Frank Williams. I'm running for Ward 3. I'm in it to win it. Vote for me.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Let's give all the Ward 3 candidates a round of applause as we now move to Ward 4 in the city of Beckley. And we want to invite Carrie Berry, Kip Buchanan, and Danielle Stewart up. And we want to remind everybody, too, this is the Meet the Candidates Forum as a part of Future Forward here with the Beckley-Raleigh County Chamber of Commerce. We thank you for your support of this event. All right. So let's invite Kip Buchanan up from Ward 4. And we have a question for Kip. We want to begin our questioning this time with Damon Kane from the Register-Herald.
Hey, Kip. So just a little while ago, a candidate for 2nd Ward in Beckley for the council said that she and her husband enjoy going to Lewisburg to shop, to dine, to have a nice day out, that Lewisburg's a fun place to go to. We've heard the same thing about Fayetteville, and we even hear the same thing nowadays about Hinton, about little cities on the up and coming. And yet we don't hear that about Beckley. Does Beckley have an attitude problem?
Does Beckley have a what?
Does Beckley have an attitude problem?
I believe Beckley needs to find its way again when we talk about uptown, downtown Beckley, whatever you want to think. I think we've gotten away. We like to go 30, 40 minutes out. We have to reconnect with our downtown history. We need to clean downtown back up. We need the next city council coming in. I think that should be our #1 emphasis in looking at ways to clean the downtown, revitalize downtown. Because we have a wonderful young population of college students in here right down the road at West Virginia Tech. We need to look at engaging their interests, making Beckley vibrant again, making them want to come downtown. So I can see people going to Lewisburg and Fayetteville because those are nice places to go 20 or 30 minutes out. But I still think that Beckley can refine itself, regroup itself, and come to support its own in downtown Beckley.
Thanks.
Our next question from Keith Thompson for Kip Buchanan. Keith is from WJLS. Keith?
Thank you, Jay. Kip, this city manager business, and I don't have a dog in this fight because I don't live in a city. I live 700 feet out of it, in one of the quote-unquote donut holes. If you were on this council when all of this was going on, first of all, should the people and the citizens in the city of Beckley be allowed to vote on this issue, and your thoughts on it?
My personal thoughts on that was the current council waited so late to make a move on this that yes, it should have been put on the agenda for the city to have a vote on. I do believe on that because they waited so long to move this. Now our current council has to elect city manager by the time the new city manager is in place. So I believe them waiting in this stage, waiting so late in this end stage of this current election cycle, we should have put it on the ballot and had the citizens vote for it. But if they would have made a plan before that, they should have carried out with it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have Danielle Stewart, who is running for Ward 4 City Council, and our questions from Cameron Gano from the Lute Press. Cameron?
Members of City Council will invariably come across constituents who are unhappy or even upset with the way things are being handled in the city from time to time. How might you go about, if elected, making these individuals feel heard and bridging those disconnects between constituent and representative?
Thank you. So one of the things I want to do, constituent services in our cities is practically non-existent. I mean, our city council members, they do a whole lot of good things, and they try to bring these issues up, but we need a city council constituent services committee where people can bring their grievances to the city members and let them be heard, that has all the department heads there, that has the mayor there, so that that stuff could be addressed and real answers can be given. You know, everybody likes to talk about Mary West and LaRue Avenue and all of the speed bump stuff that happens there. You know, there's so many measures we could be doing, but one person is holding that up. We need a city council, a mayor, a city manager, and department heads. They're going to sit down with our constituents and come up with real answers, or at least real valid reasons why we are doing or not doing something.
Thank you.
Next question's from Micah Leith for Danielle Stewart. Micah's from WOAY-TV.
A major issue that popped up last year was the compensation of Beckley police officers and how it compares to neighboring police agencies, as well as how it compares to the rest of the Beckley budget. What do you think the next council needs to do to balance the needs of law enforcement, but also the needs of the rest of the city of Beckley? Thank you.
So, you know, interestingly enough, I was one of the only public citizens that stood up in support of the police pay raises. Not only did I stand up, but I brought the receipts and showed City Council where the money was in order to do that. And I did that because if you look around, our city police were underpaid, and we were losing city police officers because of that. So anytime you're looking at the wages, whether it's the fire department, or the police, or the public works, you've got to compare with what the going rate is around, and we've got to be competitive. You know, we cannot be a donor of trained police. We can't spend our money to train them, send them to the police academy, come back here for them to go work for the state police. It's killing us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. Let's call Kip Buchanan back up now from Ward 4 City Council to give us a 1-minute closing statement. Kip?
Thank you, Jay. My name is Kip Buchanan. I've lived in Beckley my whole life. I'm 52 years old. I've been here. I've raised 3 kids here. I've got 2 grandchildren. I've got a 3rd one on the way, and I love Beckley. I've been involved in numerous activities, I volunteer on numerous events, and also serve as the chairman of the City of Beckley Housing Authority in my spare time. So I think this next current election cycle of our new mayor and our city council is going to be one of the most important votes we'll have. We need to unite, be strong, be transparent as we work with the new city manager and transition to this new form of government we're looking at doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Kip Buchanan, Ward 4, City of Beckley. We'd also like a 1-minute closing statement from Danielle Stewart. Danielle?
Again, thank you all very much for allowing me to address you. I'm a known quantity. You know, you can Google my name and see all the stuff I'm already doing in the city. Whether it's substance use prevention, I'm there. If it's the homelessness problem, I'm there. You know, I have not been idly by and showing up the last 4 months. I am out there on the front lines already addressing these issues. And when we talk about, you know, the city council, we need a city council that's going to be able to stand up and do what is right for the residents of Beckley. I am not a fan of this, let's build Beckley for tourists. Tourist in Virginia does not elect me. The people on Lincoln Street elect me. The people on Johnstown Road elect me. The people on Mankin Avenue elect me. And that's who I work for. And everything I will do will be through the lens of what is best for those residents of Beckley and not for some out-of-town person coming in. Thank you.
Thank you. Kip Buchanan, Danielle Stewart, Ward 4, City of Beckley. We want to move now to Ward 5. We want to invite Tim Berry, Janine Bullock, Chris Kincaid, Tina Pinnell, and Mary West. A couple of those are not going to be able to attend. We'll invite them up here and remind you that we are going to do this again tomorrow. We're going to have state and national candidates tomorrow. A forum tomorrow beginning in the morning at 8:20. You're invited as well, and it should be very interesting. This is a part of our Future Forward event here at the Beckley-Raleigh County Convention Center. And everything gets underway in the morning at about 8:20, so we hope you can join us in the morning here at the Convention Center. First up, we want to invite Janine Bullock, Fifi, from Ward 5, to come up, and we have a question for you from Rivers Up Church of WVNS 59 News.
How are you?
Hello, thank you.
We have seen multiple big businesses decide to come to West Virginia in the past year or so, but very few of them are choosing to come to the southern part of the state. As the biggest city in the state south of Charleston, what would you do to make Beckley more attractive to businesses that are going to bring higher paying jobs to the area?
Well, we had two excellent, outstanding speakers today from the Hub and New River Gorge. Those two individuals have some extensive information, and I am all about us coming together, and they talked about collaboration too and teamwork. We all need to come together and talk about this, bringing some more businesses into Beckley. I would love to see more businesses, especially for our young people to stay here in Beckley, and so they'll be ready to come home and say, you know, we're ready to stay in Beckley, West Virginia. Country roads take me home.
The next question for Ms. Bullock comes from Ben Schwartz at WVVA TV.
Hello. What do you believe are some of the most important qualities that you should be looking for a city manager?
Ooh, we just looked at the job description. It is extensive. Hopefully he or she will have a great personality that is good of getting along with others. That is very, very, very important, that you come in with a great, great attitude. So we look forward to that.
Thank you, Ms. Bullock.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it. Thanks.
Hang around just a minute. We're going to ask you to come back and do a closing statement, okay?
I sure will. Thank you.
Next up, we want to invite Ms. Pinnell, Tina Pinnell, who is also running for Ward 5 City Council. And our first question comes from Lola Reiser of WWNR for Ms. Pinnell.
Hello.
Hello.
So with the city manager, a lot of the things that I've seen, you know, doing my own personal research on this, is that a lot of times city managers are hired from outside the area. What is your feeling on that?
Well, with my background in talent acquisition and an HR executive, I think we should utilize the current personnel here in Beckley or the city of Beckley that are already subject matter experts in doing that to start sourcing the candidate instead of picking a candidate on the outside.
Thank you.
Our next question for Ms. Pinnell is from Damon Kane of the Register Herald.
Hi. I want to go back to the Fruits of Labor. We all understand what it does. It's a culinary training program that also offers a recovery program for those suffering from substance use disorder. Should the city have a role in supporting that kind of business?
I think the city has an obligation to support the citizens of Beckley however they see is most humane. So how does that look? We need to include everyone on city council as well as the constituents to really take and do a deep dive and assess how we should go forward with supporting both the culinary arts part as well as the rehabilitation of the citizens that are housed there.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Pinnell. If you'll hang on just a minute, we'll have a closing statement. We want to invite Ms. Bullock, Janine Bullock, back up. If you would give us your 60-second or 1-minute closing statement, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Chamber. My name is Janine Fifi Bullock. You know that I am an incumbent of City Council. Upon my retirement in 2016, I chose to be a candidate for City Council Ward 5 in the city of Beckley for the municipal election. Currently, I have been a member of council for approximately 7.5 years. I am the incumbent in the current municipal election. My accomplishments, they speak for themselves. New Stratton Elementary School, $20 million school. I helped with the assistance of writing the grant for Wright Hunter Cemetery. Now we're on the historic places. I helped with the nomination of that. So also the infrastructure on Hager, Hunter, and Hartley Avenue, that was $10 million project that's coming into place. I am the incumbent. I have done what I needed to do, and I am still working. I have had 21 years of law enforcement at the federal prison. I retired in 2016. I am still ready to work. It's all about integrity, and it's all about respect. I am the candidate for Ward 5. I am on the ballot for number 5. Number 5, Ward 5. Number 10, guess what? We're going to win. And who do you see in the community? Who do you see? Fifi, bringing about unity in the community. Vote for Janine Bullock, number 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bullock. Thank you. I did want to mention that Tim Berry, who's also running in Ward 5, Chris Kincaid, and Mary West, all running in Ward 5, could not be with us today. Ms. Pinnell, Tina Pinnell, if you could give us your 1-minute closing statement, please.
Well, by way of introduction, my name is Tina Pinnell. I'm a Beckley native. I have 20-plus years experience in talent acquisition as well as HR executive. I gained my education from West Virginia. I got a psychology degree at West Virginia State University, and then I went off to University of Phoenix to get my MBA. With all that said, I just want to commit to exceed the expectations of Ward 5 and the city and citizens of Beckley and change the narrative and continue the great spirit and restore the great spirit of Beckley back. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pinnell. Thank you. Ward 5 concludes our program today for the city and county. I want to remind you we're going to do statewide races tomorrow beginning at 8:20, and we're going to have a gubernatorial meeting tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. So we hope you'll join us. We want to thank our sponsor, Truist, also for the Beckley-Raleigh County Chamber of Commerce. They have organized and put this together. We're grateful for their work, and we thank you all for being here. God bless you, and thank you.